My name is Martina Droth, and I am Head of Research and Curator of Sculpture at the Yale Centre for British Art. Sir Anthony Caro is perhaps the best-known British sculptor working today. His career spans more than 6 decades, and he has played a key role in the development of modern sculpture. Our exhibition brings together 62 works that represent the diversity and long span of Caro's artistic output. Caro is most famous for his large-scale abstract steel sculptures of the 1960s. This exhibition features lesser-known, smaller-scale works by Caro using a range of materials. When planning the exhibition, we wanted Caro's work to be seen in natural light and take advantage of our beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows. The artist was struck by the intimate scale of the centre's galleries, which suit the intimate nature of his work. The exhibition begins in the 1950s, with life drawings that Caro made as a student at the Royal Academy schools. What makes these such fascinating documents are the annotations in the margins by the sculptor Henry Moore. Moore was a dominant and influential international figure at that time, and Caro worked as his assistant for 2 years. After he completed his training, Caro tried to disrupt the conventional techniques he had learned. Baby with a Ball, for instance, was made by putting together 2 halves of a plaster mould, used for another work. Here, the remnants of an earlier piece become the finished work. The next section of the exhibition brings us to a dramatic change in Caro's art. A trip to America in 1959 opened his world to new influences. When he returned to London, he radically changed his practice. The sculptures no longer represent the figure. Many are bright and colourful, and they employ a range of materials not traditional to sculpture. He largely abandoned clay and bronze, and instead used steel welded together to make completely abstract constructions. Caro's earliest abstract works are very large, but in 1966 he began experimenting with smaller scales. He wanted the works to hold their own, without appearing to be models or reductions of larger sculptures. He's also careful about how he sites his pieces. His table pieces show Caro playing with the sides and edges of their supports. Rather than sitting statically on a plinth that isolates the work, the sculptures dynamically extend into the viewer's space. Caro is chiefly associated with steel, but walking through the exhibition, one is struck by the eclectic range of materials he has used: brass, silver, porcelain, bronze, and clay. In these later works, Caro no longer employs the traditional techniques of modelling or casting from a mould. Instead, he collages ready-made pieces together. The most pliable and fragile of Caro's materials is paper, and our show ends with his paper sculptures and reliefs. Caro collaborated with papermakers in America and in Japan. In some cases, the object is made by draping wet paper over a support. When dry, the paper holds its sculptural shape. In other cases, the paper is folded, origami-like, into small boxes. His use of color and line bring these works closer to painting. Despite the material, Caro essentially remains true to the methods he had adopted in the 1960s. In their collage approach, these works are like the paper echoes of his welded sculptures in steel. Together, the objects on view show a surprising diversity in Caro's work. His large-scale abstract sculptures are just one facet of his interests, and here we see an artist open to exploring different materials and approaches, which present us with a very different understanding of his practice.